Okay, good. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties. It's just one of those days, but I'm honored today to be interviewing one of my friends and colleagues, Caroline. And it's exciting because she's a certified transformational life coach, and I didn't know this, but a certified interior designer too. I had no idea, and a declutter specialist. And she shows people who are overwhelmed with clutter how to simplify their lives. Who doesn't need that? I know I do, and I'm pretty much a neat freak, but there's still piles everywhere. So welcome.
Hi.
Yes.
How are you?
Good. Well, it's so on those mornings where there's a little glitch, I always get a little bit, what's happening? But you know what? We figured it out, and
you just got to roll with it.
We're doing it our way. So tell me about yourself. What is a declutter specialist?
So a declutter specialist, what I've defined it to be is kind of a professional organizer that will help you organize your life and manage your life and, help you with that side. But I think it adds another element. Mm-hmm. When you think of decluttering, there's actually lots of different forms of clutter because you have physical clutter, there's actual mental clutter and emotional clutter. So a declutter specialist will kind of take it to the next level because organizing is about, purging, sorting, containing. It's really, the hands-on action. Mm-hmm. But decluttering really is a journey. And it's this journey, what I call a journey of self-discovery. Because, when you're decluttering, we're very attached to our things or even our thoughts. Mm. And so it takes it to this deeper level of kind of really getting clarity on what we want and making that decision. Hey, am I keeping this or not? Sometimes it's not as simple as like, I just need a place to put it. Right. So we take it to a deeper level. Anytime you've ever tried to clean up a space and you get overwhelmed, or you think about like, I need to go clean that room, but I never get to it. That's kind of where you really want more of a decluttering specialist, because we'll get to the deeper root. What's the resistance? And then if we work on that resistance, cleaning up the room is the easy part.
I love that. Well, and it's kind of how, how I was trained. How we do one thing is how we do everything. So if we have clutter anywhere, it's going to move into other areas of our life,
Yeah. And I think sometimes, people hear decluttering and it's like, it has a rap where it's like about purging and getting rid of all your stuff and like, to rip the Band-Aid and just do it. And I'm not about that approach at all. It's like, I'm very much about, the clutter in our life is like telling us something. And so sometimes you have to have this very compassionate approach to it and awareness and be very kind to yourself and be like, yeah, that room's a mess. Or, I have thousands of emails, but not to beat yourself up because there's something deeper there that it's trying to tell you.
Well, yeah, and I think it's so needed because for me, when you mentioned emails, I went, whoa, because it's overwhelming. I have so many that I need to go through and file or just, unsubscribe from that it does cause stress I'm not even aware of,
And that's part of a little bit of my journey is, I talk about that a little bit, is I think email is a perfect example of when you see clutter starting to dictate your life.
Yes.
So, I would run into habits, formerly, before where you could spend 2 hours going through your email and you clean it all out. And you're like, woohoo, well, there went 2-3 hours of your life for what? And if I had checked email and there was one email, guess what? I would have spent 2 minutes.
Exactly.
But I gave the email the control. Like that's where I feel like sometimes where the clutter kind of takes control of our life. Like suddenly we're spending all weekend cleaning our houses, or because I had 20 emails come in, I'm spending all the times on the email. Right. And it's all about really empowering yourself. So when what I say decluttering is, it's really just quick and easy decision making. Some people do this amazingly. Mm-hmm. So, not everybody would work with a declutter specialist because some people just do it. They're clear on what they want. They can make the call, boom. So what I call really decluttering is really empowered decision making. If you can make empowered decisions, like you just go, you don't ever accumulate clutter so much because you're quickly like, no. Yes, you set those boundaries. Mm-hmm. But, that's really hard sometimes to become this empowered decision maker. Because first, you have to be clear on what you want and what you really want and not what you think you want. And I know you get into some of that. And what we think we want isn't always what we really want. So that's where the TCM, the transformational coaching stuff, comes into play. And then learning how to know what's a yes for you, like really tuning in. And when you can do that quickly, then, you know, whether it's paper, email, whatever, something comes into your life, you can be confident in the decision.
And that's a question I have, because I think myself and maybe a lot of people are confused by the difference of decluttering and organizing.
Yeah. So organizing, I think, is the action. It's like the actual purging, the sorting, the containing. That's maybe physical clutter. When it comes to email and paper, it's about creating a system, you know, whether you have a project file, or I really encourage having a control center. And like, for example, a time of day, because like you could check email 20 times a day, and that's a lot of time. You're not really, you know, you're kind of repeating yourself, looking at the same email. Versus time of day that you're like tuning in. I know what I want. I know I'm going to make a decision. And that's the time of day you go through your papers, you go through your email. You know, that's, you know, so these are the systems. And that's what I think about organization.
Yeah.
But cluttering takes it to that extra level, where I also say too, with the decluttering being that journey, it's always evolving. So I think sometimes people think with organizing, boom, I'll organize, I'm done. That's how I used to be. I mean, like, get organized and then I can live my life, right?
Right.
But you know what? You're never going to be organized enough, ever. And the clutter never stops too. That's why I said to people, decluttering, it sneaks in. You know, it sneaks in my life. It's not like my house is like an Architectural Digest home, and that's not realistic. You know, I've been on photo shoots, not realistic.
Right.
Their lives. But what I tried to create is, when I did a survey once, one woman said when she would look at the clutter, it literally physically gave her anxiety. It reminded her of the things that she wasn't working on or doing, or it just created all this anxiety. The whole thing is, I'm not saying you have to get rid of all your piles, but let's get to a place where it doesn't, you know, put you in an anxiety attack, or you're creating a home that really supporting what you want. So, and because our wants change, decluttering is more of this evolving, you know, because we change, and then what we want changes.
Right.
So suddenly, maybe all that stuff that we had was important like 2 years ago, but now suddenly it's not important. And I think that's the hard thing, I think, is being able to be truthful to yourself and own that and be like, what do I really want? Like, a good example is when I was living in Kansas 2 years ago, I was a Zumba instructor. Went all in, and I have all my Zumba stuff. And you know, when I moved here to Cincinnati, I move a lot. I move about every 2 years. Like I'm like, yeah, I'll sub Zumba. I'm not really that into it. I was doing it more to, you know, make friends and just be active. And it was really hard. I realized within 6 months in, like, I really don't want to be doing this. Like, I want to take Zumba. I don't want to be the teacher anymore. I don't want to be choreographing dance. I mean, you know, I enjoyed it, but it didn't. And I had to, like, pretty much, I threw out my business cards. I had all of them. I'm like, why am I holding on to these things, you know? And that can be really hard, but the quicker you can do that, you know, some people will hold on to it longer, but it took me a little while. And that's the thing, is I like a compassionate approach. Yeah. So it was like, I knew it was kind of heading that way, but I wasn't like, you have to throw it out today, you know?
Well, it's hard for people because, especially with stuff that's sentimental, you know, they feel like they're throwing away the memories, you know? So yeah, so that's it. What do you, when you talk to clients, does there seem to be one area that stresses people out the most with clutter?
Email is a big one.
Yeah, I know when you said emails, I went, because with me, I've got like...
Email's a big one because there's a lot of fear missing out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just the biggie with the email. And, you know, I highly recommend, if you want a good, like, unsubscribe system, it's Unroll Me. I think it's UNROLL.me, and it helps you manage, and it works for Gmail and everything, all those subscriptions. So that's a way to help you out. But I think that's an area where you got to set firm boundaries. It's like, I'm very strict on my email. The only thing that comes in my inbox is people I know. I have it set to, like, contacts. And everything goes to, like, junk. And so it does make me go through my junk and make sure nothing's there. But it's only, you know, whatever, the system will work differently. But I do teach, like, a way to process your email pretty quickly. But a lot of that is getting to the clarity of what you want. You know, you have to do that little bit of that work, because I use a little bit of kind of like Daniela Port's like desired feelings.
Mm.
So when you hear what you want, you write down maybe 4 or 5 desired, what are the feelings associated with those things?
Right.
So before I even look, I mean, I think about those feelings, even if it's as simple as like a coupon for something. And it's like having this in mind. And it's like, that's the thing. I don't like coupons so much too, because sometimes you collect all these coupons and then you feel forced to shop there because you have that coupon.
Completely.
And I've gotten better where I feel like if it's not a store I shop at, I'm not holding on to the coupon. I went crazy once and got all these restaurant coupons. I was like, I'm going all these places, never went. And I felt pressured to go there because of the coupon. That's an example where you will feel like the clutter is controlling you. Yeah. I'm not making the decision where I'm going to eat. I'm allowing the coupon, the person who created the coupon, telling me what to do.
That's not right. Oh, I love it. So what's your, like if I was going to hire you, I suppose, what would it look like? Because I have never hired someone to declutter. I think of myself as a very neat person. Like if you walked into my house, you'd be like, wow, but open a drawer. Uh-oh. My mom used to call me Fibber McGee's closet because I would just take everything as a kid and cram it in my closet, So the room looked neat, but you'd open the closet and it'd be like, so what would it look like? Like what can someone expect when they hire you?
So it really depends on the client. And I define clutter as anything that's holding you back from living the life you want, having what you want to experience. So some people, it might be a lot of physical clutter. Mm-hmm. Some of them might be the digital clutter, So it depends on what type of clutter, but pretty much, it's weekly coaching sessions and we would sit down and get that clarity first. Mm-hmm. And I would teach you techniques on how to empower you to tune in and ask yourself, whether it's a thought or something else, does this align with what I want in my life, or what I want to be experiencing. So mm-hmm. you're empowering yourself to be able to use these techniques in anything, like a pile of magazines. Like if you find yourself, I teach you, getting journaling whenever you feel resistance. So for an example in that, like if you saw a pile of magazines and suddenly you're thinking, oh my God, I never have time to read those. Like, why do I hold on to them? Blah, blah, blah. That would be kind of a trigger. And I would have you write down, okay, when I look at this clutter, it makes me think this. And we could work on what is the deeper fear or feeling there. And maybe there it is, fear of missing out. Then with the technique, which with the Transformational coaching method, we can clear them pretty quickly once we figure out what it is.
Absolutely.
Getting rid of the magazines will be no problem.
Right.
It becomes a domino effect.
Yeah.
Once we get to the root cause of the clutter, fear of scarcity, things like that. Like people who have to hold on to bottles that are like half full because they can't throw them out.
Right. Right.
And again, there's no judgment. Like all this stuff, it's a very compassionate approach. We're all, struggling with clutter in one way or another. That's the other thing is I feel like there's this pressure to be super neat and organized and get rid of all this stuff in your life. And, if some of this stuff makes you happy, I'm all for it. Keeping the stuff, the whole problem is when it becomes a fog, you become overwhelmed and you have no space for what you really want in your life.
Absolutely. Now I have a question. So is this done in person or can people work with you virtually? How?
Locally, so I also do, so it's like usually coaching sessions, and depending on what you want to work on, I'll help you set up a system too, like I'll give you some decluttering guides and how to process email and paper, depending if you want paperless or not. So we'll do weekly coaching sessions, which can be in person or virtually. Mm-hmm. And then depending on the program, you'll get 1 home assessment or 3 home assessments, depending if you wanted me to help you with your physical home. Right. And if you're virtual, what you can do is share images or layouts and things like that. And luckily with my design background,
I had no idea. It's amazing because you can, I love that about interior designers is they can just see it, and just put it all together. It's amazing.
Yeah. And luckily, the benefit of being a chronic organizer is that I have like a whole like encyclopedia of solutions. It's like, when I'm studying something, like I was just researching project management software for my cousin for her business, and I went to town. Like I love this industry, so I just like learned every single software, and I love it. But so being able to pull from that, because every person's different. They process differently. So I like to create solutions that don't add overwhelm.
Completely.
That's the thing. Like, you know, I don't like things that like add more organization or add more steps. You know, we want to try to simplify. So I really try to work with the schedule the person has, or the personality they have, or the things they like to do, you know.
Absolutely. So I guess my last question would be, I guess a fear I would have going in was I was going to get like this generic system. If with organization, like put this here, this pile here. So how do you personalize it for people?
So again, a lot of that is the transformational coaching method, using that stuff, because when we really get clear on what you want to be experiencing, you know, that's unique to everyone. Absolutely. So whether it's the type of home you have and how you process, how I mentioned earlier, you know, all that information gets pulled into it, and we go back and forth. So we play around, you know, there's no right or wrong. So, you know, let's try this out. And if you're like, yeah, I was doing that and it was not working for me, it's like, fine, like get rid of that. Let's try this now. So it's a lot of, you know, working back and forth with the client and really creating kind of a safe space too. I was talking to someone recently and she was telling me, and this is true when I was doing my survey too, a lot of people feel a lot of shame when it comes to the clutter, and there should be feeling no shame, no judgment, because we all have it, whether it's physical or mental or emotional, you know, we all have it. So there's no shame there. And it doesn't mean you're lazy. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're a messy person or a slob or things like that. You know, the clutter is there screaming out to you.
Right.
It's really a teacher. And so each client, we can really customize a program and figure out, you know, what is this trying to tell us, and where is an area in your life that we can focus a little bit more time in. And it really is, like I mentioned, that domino effect. Like once we really start looking at that and healing that, you know, the person themselves becomes empowered. I really now have given them the key, and they just kind of, they go run with it. It's like everything starts clearing.
Yeah. Well, because and what's great about that is they can actually think clearly, which allows them to move forward in action, which is what we all want to do, isn't it? I think so many people feel stuck. Like you said, it's like my pens have power over me because they're a mess. There's a whole drawer of them. So my focus is there, clear it out. Now I'm able to focus on what I truly want.
And I think some people feel like you have to buy the next book, like, you know, the Kamari method. You know, I love some of her stuff too. And I feel like you looking always outside, like what's the solution? You know, I love Container Store, but I'm not big in containing so much stuff either.
Oh, really?
You know, I feel like you're always looking like this person's going to solve my problem. What I like for my clients is to empower them with the tools they need to declutter themselves. And that's it. Like once they have that, they're golden. And anything they have to do is just be present and aware. And notice when it starts to sneak back in. You know, clutter sneaks back in my life, and then I'm suddenly like, okay, why suddenly do I have a pile of papers over here?
Right.
Like, why suddenly I'm letting this go, and then suddenly I'm thinking about this all the time. You know me. Yeah. I get mental clutter a lot. So I'm like, why am I all up here? I'm like, okay, that means I need a reset. Absolutely. So, you know, empowering people to see their clutter as a teacher and teaching them how to, like, you know, let that go and hear the message, you know, that really helps a lot.
Absolutely. So how does someone connect with you? Do they do like do you get on the phone with them? Is it?
Yeah. So the first session is just a clarity session to get clear on, you know, whether if we're a good fit. And so we just talk about exactly what, you know, what do you want? What kind of, you know, clutter stresses you out the most, and what are you hoping to, what's your end goal here? Right. So yeah, just a phone session that you can book if you go to my website. I don't know if you share it, but it's
we'll put it in the group, in the comments for sure.
Online by Caroline.com. Just click get ready, and you can schedule the clarity session, and that's how we get started. And like I said, each program is really customized to what you want, you know. And I also do like a VIP program where it's very customized, where if it is, you just want to do 3 hours on something. You know, some people really want a lot of solutions. Some people want to talk more about, you know, the art of decluttering and the mindset part. So it does all work together, but sometimes you know, some people have different interests.
Oh yeah. Well, and like you said, a lot of it is, you know, I just look at my mom's house, and she's such a saver, but to her, she feels that she's not being sentimental if she gets rid of something. So that is mind work. You're right. It's like going in there and letting her see that, a vase isn't necessarily, you know what I mean? I don't know how you handle that with people when they're like, I can't let go of this.
Well, it's really interesting because I'll talk to people and I'll meet people in coffee shops. This woman recently told me too about her mom and stuff. And it's interesting because the mom didn't see a problem with it. And this is where it's kind of vague. If it's making her happy and she has the space,
right.
The daughter was more concerned and upset about it. And because she was a very good declutterer. She was telling me, oh, I clean up,
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So I actually gave her different advice where I was like trying to get her to understand where her mother was coming from and show her a little bit more compassion.
Oh.
I was like, maybe ask her, what these objects mean to her, how do they make her feel? And, if you work with her, I'm like, maybe if you can replicate that feeling or honor that past in another way, that's a different approach than being like, we need to go in your house and gut everything,
Exactly.
or I've talked to a few people where they want to go to the parents' home and just get rid of all their stuff. And I know it's challenging or they're downsizing, but I don't know.
Right.
It's just, you have to show a lot of compassion.
But I love that because it's seeing it through their eyes, which opens up, what a great way to learn,
It's like ripping out one of their limbs sometimes when you're trying to ask somebody to get rid of an object. So I feel like you have to really be compassionate and really get into what is going on there.
Absolutely. No, I love that. So I'm definitely going to put a link. People can get in touch with you. It sounds amazing. I think it's funny thinking about how we stall in so many areas. I feel like that's a big one for people in procrastinating. It's like, well, I'm going to wait till I get organized, or I'm going to wait till this is done. But there you go.
I lived it. That was my life. Like, but I'm organized enough.
Yes, exactly. Right. So that's fantastic. So, well, good. Is there anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Good.
Thank you so
Good.
much.
Oh, my pleasure. That was amazing. So good. So everyone, I'm going to put Caroline's link, and you can just set up a nice call and see how you can declutter your life. Thank you so much. All right, I'm just going to go in and